What's up, guys? This is episode 3 of Warcraft Therapy. On my alt right now on level 21 Shaman. Um, just not necessarily getting bored of my alt, but I just don't want to get burnt out. I just got him to 50, and I really don't want to. I know it's going to be a grind to get to 60, so I really just don't want to get burnt out this early. Um, So yeah, I have this guy. I also have a hunter. I don't know. I get a lot of people to like 20, and then sort of the appeal almost wears off for whatever reason, and I'll just abandon them. So I have a 20 rogue, a 20 hunter, and a 20 shaman. I mean, I really only play them when either gillies aren't on or my friends, just to kind of get something to do. Like I really enjoy the game, so regardless of what character I'm on, I'm usually having a pretty good time. Um, Jeez. Probably. I'll show you my spec. It's bizarre. So I was originally going to go enhancement, and I've sort of realized that I want to potentially heal or I don't even know exactly what I want to do. So I put a point in this. I think what I'm going to do is put 5 points in that, 5 points in where is it? Systematic cost, distinction. No, maybe not in these. Well, long story short, I have no idea what I'm going to spec this guy. Um, so I think for at least the leveling process, I'm just going to experiment with the talent tree and kind of see where that gets us, or see where that gets us. So anyway, that's what's going on here. Doing a little Shadow Fang Keep. Um, don't really know what this healer's doing. I don't know who the healer even is, to be honest. There it is. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what's going on the World of Warcraft side of things. Also, he's an alchemist, herbalism. I was gonna do engineering like I do on most of my characters, just to I think um, if you want to be competitive in PvP, you sort of need it, but my thought process was there's a good chance I don't even get this guy to 60, and given how many totems there are, and it's like a very new, I've never played Shaman before. I mean, I just kind of want to have fun with the character and see where that goes. And I honestly think herbalism is like herbalism alchemy is a um, really fun profession combo to have. I just like, you have like 13 buffs over here. I don't at the moment, but you just making all these random potions, giving them out to people and stuff. I just something I enjoy. So this potion, I already have that. So that's kind of what's going on here, at least in the World of Warcraft side of things. It's day 3 now of sobriety. Actually had a relatively good day, which is surprising given the circumstances. Um, it was relatively unproductive. That's only or that's I guess sort of relative. I got done what I needed to do, which was basically just send some emails and do like a very quick assignment. So relatively unproductive, but that being said, I kind of did what I needed to do. So whatever. What else can I say? In terms of the fixation or the intrusive thoughts about using and all that stuff, it's been as far as today goes pretty mild, which is very surprising given that it's only day 3. I remember when I originally got sober, coming up on 2 years now ago. It was probably not until month 3 that I stopped thinking about it and whatnot. And obviously there's absolutely no way to determine if I could tomorrow wake up and all I can think about is drinking and using. So we'll kind of play it by ear, but I've been pleasantly surprised thus far. I also think that when I got sober 2 years ago, I was in a treatment program. I did it very much for my family, or my parents sort of forced me into it. Um, I think that dynamic ultimately made things much more difficult. Um, I really didn't want to get sober, and yeah, I just didn't. I really didn't care for it. I was essentially tricked into it. Probably in another video, I'll go into the entire treatment experience. But I was lied to pretty consistently, and the goalposts were constantly moving. Um, it was just overall like a very, very frustrating experience for me, and ultimately it sort of soured my take on sobriety. But I found that this time around, granted, it's like I said, it's only day 3, but I just have a lot more internal motivation to do this, and as a result, things have been significantly easier. So um, that's good, and I may sound slightly more chipper than before, and I think have a little bit more confidence in terms of, okay, maybe I actually can do this. I didn't necessarily. I went in with the um, right motivation, but there was a or a healthy level of skepticism, I guess. Um, I wasn't necessarily sure how possible it really was for me to get sober again, et cetera, et cetera. And I've kind of have a newfound confidence just in the last few days, seeing how well things have gone. Want to also just thank you guys again for the response I got on the second video. Is even better than the first, and I appreciate everyone that I got a subscriber. People were commenting, um, really really helped. Um, so thank you guys for that as well. Oh shit, we pulled quite a bit. I almost didn't make a video today. Not for any particular reason. I just didn't necessarily feel the need to, but uh, I think I've decided I'm going to try to do one every day, and I say that half-heartedly because it's currently tomorrow. So I guess I've already failed that promise, but I think the idea is I'm going to try to do one every day just to keep you guys updated. Might be a good thing to uh, I don't know, just a good. I've noticed it's helped, and I think I don't really see the harm in trying to do this every day. So that's the goal, at least for the immediate future. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I almost don't have enough to bitch about, at least compared to the past 2 videos, because relatively good day, but. I've been sweating a lot. I think that's just a result of the withdrawals, unfortunately. But it hasn't affected me mentally as much as I thought it would, so that's good. So there's something else I was going to mention. Yeah, I might slightly try to up the production quality of the videos, and depending on the response I get, if that's something you guys are interested in. At the moment, this WoW is essentially used as like a backdrop to just commentary. Yeah, that's an idea I've been playing around with as well. Let's see, something about the videos. What? One thing is I've mentioned to a couple of my friends that I'm getting sober. I don't really know. Many of the friends that I had originally gotten sober with are no longer sober. I really don't know any sober people in my life anymore. But the people I have told have been, very supportive, even if they're not sober themselves, which is obviously fine. But so that's been, comforting as well. My family still doesn't know. I have a very complicated relationship with my family. It's pretty delicate. So they thought essentially I'd been sober for going on 2 years, which, not only was I not sober, like things would have began to fall apart. um, that's something that I think eventually I'm gonna have to tell them just out of principle. But I really want to get to a place in my sobriety where I feel more comfortable telling them that. Like I wouldn't want to tell them that now, just because things are sort of so delicate in terms of my sobriety. I think 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road, whatever, when I sort of just have a better footing, is going to be a better opportunity to tell them that. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said in the previous two videos. I mean, I felt like an overwhelming sense of relief even in just making the decision to get sober again. And oh Jesus. Um, and that doesn't even necessarily right. Like the decision to get sober doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get sober by any means, but just even the taking the motivation to make that decision has been, super beneficial for my mental health. And I've noticed the past 2 days, I mean, it's obviously pretty turbulent in terms of emotions and all that good stuff, but I feel myself sort of centering again. Um, the cigarette portion is still sort of up in the air. Historically, I've always used that to sort of cope, but I feel like at this point, it's like, why would I? It just doesn't necessarily make that much sense. Like, I've gotten this far without. Did I get the bag? Damn it! I've gotten this far without it already. So, I mean, what's the point in starting? I mean, yeah, you guys. I wish I really do. No, I guess it's a good thing that I don't have more to bitch about. But it was all in all a decent day. So I can't complain too much. I'll keep you guys posted as to more videos. I'm going into midterms this coming week, which is going to be interesting to say the least. A small part of me almost wishes wasn't sober for this, just because like the early stages of sobriety are just incredibly draining. Um, I'm not doing any, like I literally haven't done anything all weekend. I haven't done anything, and it's been just exhausting. Just making that decision, and it takes so much energy to not do something, which seems kind of counterintuitive. But I mean, if any of you guys have gone through this sort of like preliminary sobriety, you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's just exhausting. So I almost feel like there's so much stuff coming at me so quickly. It's super overwhelming, but also I don't know. Like I feel like the universe is just trying to fuck me right now, and but maybe that's a good thing. Like for example, like the day I made the decision to get sober, I basically got dumped by the girl, which was my own fault. But regardless, I'm coming in on midterms. I got unfortunately denied to a study abroad program that was coming up. It's like a whole bunch of stuff just seemingly fell apart in my hands, especially like literally immediately after I made the decision to get sober. So it's like, all right, well, that's the way it's gonna be. There's a Taoist parable. I can't remember where I originally heard it. I believe it might have been like a documentary or something, but um, it's essentially about this old Chinese farmer who has like this prized horse. Um, One day the horse gets out of his pen and runs away, and his neighbors come over to sort of console him and say like, I'm so sorry that you lost your horse, like that's so unfortunate. Um, and the farmer says, oh Jesus, oh well, who knows what's good or bad. The neighbor thought that was odd given the fact that he lost his prized horse. He said, all right, well, the neighbor goes home, and then the next day uh, his horse comes back, but it's followed by a dozen wild horses. The neighbor comes over and says, oh my God, like what, that's incredibly lucky. Like that's such good fortune. And the farmer says, oh, well, who knows what's good or bad. The neighbor thought that was odd as well. And then the next day, the farmer's son was trying to break one of the horses, and he fell off and broke his leg. So the neighbor comes over again and says, oh, that's how unfortunate. It's terrible luck. Farmer goes, oh, well, who knows what's good or bad. Next day, the conscription officers come by looking for any physically able young men to join the army, and obviously the son's unable to do that. So you sort of see how this goes. I mean, it can go on forever, right? But I think the idea behind it is we spend so much energy sort of categorizing in labeling life, right? Like something happens in our lives and we feel it necessary to just sort of categorize it and make sense of it. When in reality, like that really doesn't change the outcome. Um, you can never sort of predict the consequences of good luck, bad luck, whatever it may be. Um, reality to make those sort of distinctions is not only pointless, but a lot of times, is has negative effects on us. If I oh, nice mechanical squirrel. If I were to determine that something in my immediate future is negative, it's going to have a negative impact on my life, I'm setting myself up for these expectations, and when in reality it could be like an overwhelming positive experience ultimately, but I'm sort of closing off the possibility of that by making those distinctions unnecessarily. So it's something that I knew of, but it's sort of having newfound importance in my life, and um, I read that just earlier this morning, which is why it's sort of fresh in my memory. But um, it's yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, in like the sobriety community, people say that expectations are um, the cause of the cause of resentment in the sense that you go in with these expectations regardless of what the circumstances are, and the failure to meet your expectations is what causes you to be frustrated, which I think in many ways is true. It's almost like a Buddhist approach to it, but yeah, I mean, if that's useful to any of you guys, I mean, it's been incredibly useful to just in my own life. Try not to immediately label things. Let things sort of play out. Um, See how they affect your life, because a lot of times, well, all the time, you don't know, you can't predict the future. You can't see into the future. I guess you can try to predict it, but in reality, I mean, I think the only person you're really hurting is yourself, and I would encourage you to a lot of times just take a step back and let things sort of pan out for better or for worse, and rather than making those expectations for yourself, just seeing where it leads. Oh, I can't let this guy die again. So yeah, I mean I guess that's it for this video, you guys. I appreciate anyone that was able to tune in, and people that are leaving comments. I really really appreciate that. It's been amazing the sort of response I've gotten from the WoW community, and uh, yeah, I can't even sort of articulate what that's meant for me on this these short 3 days. So I'll post something again tomorrow. I don't know how much time I'll be able to spend on WoW, but I'll give it a shot. And yeah, thanks if you were able to watch all the way through. I really appreciate that, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I know it's kind of late if anyone's able to watch this tonight, but not the end of the world. All right, guys.